Sometimes when you want to check the EGR, rather than checking it with it installed, you're better off taking it off to have a look. Just looking in here, doesn't look too bad. Sorry, the lighting isn't great right now. But obviously when you look at it from the other side, it looks pretty bad right there. And the intake, it's about 50% restricted. So looking through here doesn't always tell you the whole story, and it's fairly easy to remove this. There's just 3 mounting bolts. You just have to remove the 2 lower bolts here for the EGR pipe, one of the ones from down here, so that this can rotate, so you can get at the lower bolt. And then once this is off, you can simply clean this one. Obviously check the EGR diaphragm and the shutoff flap diaphragm to make sure everything is working. Clean this up, put it back together. If the intake is restricted, remove the intake and clean it out. Link is in the description. The EGR here, or the EGR cooler, is mounted to the intake manifold with the little 5mm Allens. If you have a hard time getting an Allen tool on there, or if it starts to strip inside here, use one of these bolt extractor sockets. You can see it's got a angled pitch on it, so as you're loosening it counterclockwise, it bites into the head, into the outside of the head. You can see the tooth marks, and then that'll break them loose. And then last person who cleaned it didn't put any anti-seize on there, but anyways, the later style bolts are hex head bolts. So if you have Allens, feel free to put in hex heads. There's less likelihood of them stripping out on you the next time around. EGR cleaning can vary according to driving mileage, 40,000 kilometers to 80. All depends. City driving plugs it up most or the quickest. You're going to need a propane torch to heat up a couple of nuts. One here, and then this sheet metal comes off. Ouch, that's hot. And then a couple of nuts here. Those are for the cooler pipe. You don't have to disconnect this piece here. Just the 2 nuts. Then you can lift this whole cooler out of the way. Now the only thing left are the 6 intake manifold bolts. These guys right here. Yeah, once the clean intake is installed, obviously install the clean EGR. But before you start it, make sure to check and drain the intercooler of excessive oil. And remember, you heard that here first on the EXOVCDS channel, going back over 4 years. You're not going to hear that on Chris Fix, Eric the Car Guy, Scotty Kilmer, Engineering Explained, etc., etc. This is, I believe, a YouTube first, care of Thomas at EXOVCDS. Saving engines where possible, TDIs where possible, showing actual repair or at least removal, not just glancing stuff over. Okay, so this is the EGR and shutoff flap assembly. So you can see it nice and clean now, or fairly clean. Before you install it, you want to make sure that this vacuum diaphragm and this vacuum diaphragm work correctly, that they hold vacuum. When you apply vacuum to this one, this plunger should raise up. So this is your EGR. This one here is for your shutoff flap. When it gets vacuum, the flap closes, restricts airflow, and the engine stops quickly, and it doesn't shake on shutoff. If your engine, when you shut it off, it shakes a little bit for a couple of seconds after shutting off and doesn't shut off quickly, check this guy here. All you need to do is look from the top, have somebody shut the car off, and this plunger should move. It should hold for a second or two, and then it should release again. Both of these are controlled via vacuum solenoid, so it could be a vacuum problem, a broken hose, or it could be an electrical problem. You just have to diagnose to see what happens. If either one doesn't hold vacuum, replace the assembly. Okay, once the EGR is cleaned out, you want to adapt the EGR to its minimum allowable opening. That way, that'll help slow the carbon buildup. I believe we have to log in. And it says here you can log in with 12233. So you just type in 12233. Not wearing my glasses, I gotta peek over the camera. Go do it. Then you go to adaptation. And then you select EGR. And then in the pop-up window, it should say here what the minimum allowable is. So 33768. So you can see this one is still at 32768. So then you go 33768, test, new value is stored, save, yes. And then you can exit out. And then you can check it again, adaptation, EGR, and there it is, 33768, and that'll help slow the carbon buildup by reducing the amount of soot that goes back into the intake. The main problem that causes the EGR gases, the soot, the exhaust particulates to stick is the PCB oil. That's why you also want to drain the intercooler on a regular basis. That way you can monitor oil consumption or the amount of oil that collects. If you get a lot of oil collecting between oil changes, you're either driving it too slow in terms of slow speed city driving, stop and go, or there's an actual PCB or turbo issue. If you vent the PCB to atmosphere, you're not going to get any PCB fumes in the intake system or the turbo, and it should actually look nice and clean afterwards. And if it's disconnected and you're still getting oil, then the only place it could come from is the turbo. There you go. Hopefully that information is useful. I'm sure Chris Fix, Eric the car guy, Engineering Explained, Scotty Kilmer, I'm sure one of those guys explained that all before as well. Right? Yeah, that's right.